This thing about like the business is like it's the folks you meet. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like it's just all about that shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because you meet the strange. You no other business would you meet such like an eclectic group. You know what I mean? It's like it's really cool.
Big time.
That's cool, man. On the set of the Birds, eh?
Yeah, what
Wow,
a trip, huh?
shit.
His dad was a top Hollywood animal trainer,
Yeah.
and his uncle got involved, and so he got the job doing the birds. And Brian, when he was a little boy, they had to put them in a motel near your set. So for weeks, he would feed baby ravens with an eyedropper. As they grow, they were in the movie. As they grow, they're in the movie. Crazy, eh? And that, as a little kid, it's
Wow, man.
yeah.
How long did that movie take to film? I wonder?
No idea.
Like, because if they're growing ravens for this fucking film.
But apparently they grow. they grow fast, I guess. It's kind of funny.
That's crazy.
You good to wear headphones, Hamish?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
How am I looking, D?
Looking good, Andrew.
How's everybody sound, D?
Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
Good.
Perfect.
Do I need to do that or can I go like that?
You do whatever you
You
like.
can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Or I can sort of-
Hamish, if you see me doing any texting or anything during the podcast, I'm just texting Deanna behind the wall.
Right on, man.
And,
I won't take it personally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fucking boring. This fucking guest over here. This fucking guy.
And that's just what I tell everybody so that I can just nod off.
Right.
And you may take the odd pic.
And then I'll probably take some photos while
Cool.
we're shooting, just
Cool.
a few of you and this and that.
Yeah, right on.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of my gum.
This is a Kleenex right there. Hamish, I know it's only 11:15.
Yeah.
But we have a celebratory bottle of scotch here to crack if you're into having a sip.
I'll have a sip. I'll have a little one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta drive back, so.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in an hour. If that's cool.
Yeah.
bust it out somewhere inside
Cool.
the podcast and whatever.
Cool.
Just go backwards.
Yeah. Go backwards home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Don't ever. So. Well, that guy's going backwards. He's fine. I have a fucking funny story about that, actually.
That's fine.
Really?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I want this to be on the podcast.
No,
but I'll
we're
tell you
not
right
rolling
now.
yet,
Okay, it's like I grew up in this really rural spot on the west coast, you know, and there's no like public transit. It's a little island, right? So everybody drove all the time after going to the bar, and there's only one bar, and blah blah blah, all that shit. And there was one cop there, right? And you know he would set up his roadblock, right, and try to catch us all and shit like that, right? And we had all these back roads that you'd go around to try and get around this dude. And so I was going down this back road, and it was like, you know, it's in BC, so lots of mountains and stuff. So it's like, you know, it's really steep, almost cliff hill right there, and then like the forest, and you know, a cliff right here, and there's only one lane, right? And I'm like, I don't know, like sort of a kilometer maybe, you know, maybe a little less down this road, and then these headlights come at me, and I'm like, oh, motherfucker, like somebody's trying to come this way. And I'm like, all right, fine. And I put her in reverse, and I'm pretty greased at this point. And I back out all the way out this road that twists and turns and shit like that. And then when we get to a spot where I can pull over, the cop drives by me and just gives me a fucking wave, right? Because he figures that if I could do that, then I'm like solid, I guess, right?
That's fucking brilliant.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, man.
One cop trying to stop everybody.
Oh, and when I was like a little boy, there was no cops.
No shit, eh?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
what a wild thing to grow up with.
Now, how
Well,
close
I mean,
are you to
it was,
Vancouver?
A couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's a little ferry that goes back and forth and stuff like,
Like
that.
What was
like
his
a
name?
little Tinkerbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's not go there again.
All right. Well, why don't we start this thing and then we can start talking.
The other
about
day, my
where he's
buddy was
from
here,
and
and he's in Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
And he's getting shot at in a rice paddy, so he runs to hide behind the dike. And then he said, "Well,
So I only know of one kind of dike. What the fuck's a dike?
why are they in the middle of a rice paddy?"
Now, speaking of that, part of Randy's spiel is that if there's anything you don't want to say, don't say it, and if there's anything that you feel like you might have said, that you wished you didn't say,
Just let us know.
please
Okay.
let us know, like
Okay.
even ASAP, and Dee will actually time mark that or time code it, and
And even if she doesn't, I'll find it and we'll cut it out. If you decide you
Just
said something.
shit like that.
That's kind of you guys. I appreciate that a lot.
No, we're friends.
Yeah.
Nothing's
No.
going out there you don't want out there.
Yeah, thanks.
We want the
Thanks
best
a lot.
best case.
Yeah, I think I was saying to Andrew that the studios told me that I'm not allowed to say anything about JR's.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
stuff
not.
like
This
that,
isn't
so-
his fucking podcast. So
No, I
screw him.
figured it wouldn't, but I wouldn't be able to chat. Not that I know anything
that-
you guys don't know.
Like
That-
we might
that makes
ask you
sense.
what it's like working with him,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that has nothing to do.
And
with it.
we might ask you what you do know after the podcast.
Once you're
Just
hammered.
and only because we give a shit too. It's
No,
not.
I mean,
it's
I'll
not
tell
about.
you, I know as much as you guys do. I
Really?
Yeah, I just read everything in the paper.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, I read that we were doing season 2 again in the paper, so that shows me how
Are you
much they
serious?
tell me. Oh shit, yeah.
I was on the IMDb the other day. It says you guys might be going for season 3. So
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
talking about it.
I hope so. It'd
Yeah,
be
of
nice.
course.
You know what I mean? I'd like to
Before-
be employed. That would be good.
I'd like to do it again in Toronto.
yeah. So it's out, man. So would I actually. It's it's nice. It was really nice to have. I mean, we'll get into all that, but like just having being with you guys and stuff was special time.
It was a ball, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bond between these SWAT guys that I've never seen happen before.
Should we talk on the podcast? Or
Yeah, let's do it.
No,
we
let's
keep
just
talking
fuck the
now?
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's private.
Okay, cameras on you and we're rolling.
All right. All right. Hamish Allan Headley, welcome to Going Again podcast. I can't even tell you, man, how much I and obviously I'm sure Randy appreciate the shit out of this.
A little bit.
Oh
little bit.
man, it's a real honor to be here. I mean, I listening to all the guests that you guys have on that are like, have been to war and done really incredible things with their
Yeah.
lives, and here you are talking to an actor for some reason. So I don't know why I'm here, but thanks for having me. fellas.
Well, we're slumming.
Yeah. This podcast has been going downhill. So
No, this has been a long time coming, so I'm so happy that you're here. This is-
it's nice to be
is
here.
awesome.
Thanks, guys.
yeah, man. No, I guess we're just catching you being in Toronto right now.
Yeah. No, I just came up. My wife and I were in New York, and then she, we had to come back up here, and so I was just up here for the weekend.
When'd you get married?
Okay.
Last March. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just
Jesus.
coming up on a year here.
Wow,
It was-
congratulations.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
congrats,
it
man.
was really great. We just she's Canadian, so we just got married at City Hall to start, green card stuff and all
Yeah.
that shit. And we'll probably do a wedding after that.
But you got married up here.
And we got married in New York.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
It was,
okay.
It was really great, man. It was like we just went down to the city hall, and I highly recommend that if anybody is looking to do something like that. It was very fun. Like it's just
Why?
it's a wild place. It's like the fancy DMV. You know what I mean? Like it looks like you're getting your driver's license, but there's like marble and shit, and people are dressed in gowns and stuff. You
Oh,
know
no
what I mean?
shit.
Oh man, it was like I've never been in a place that had so much joy. Like everybody's getting married for different reasons. You got guys in like Knicks jerseys that are like on their phones, being like, you wouldn't believe where I am, and that sort of stuff. And then
No
you got
way.
people who are pregnant and people who are like, it was just really wild, man.
Wait,
It
so
was
did
really
you
cool.
have family there and stuff?
No, because of COVID rules, we could only have one one
sure.
witness, right?
Right.
But her and I had gone to school together there, and we had this old teacher, mentor guy, this old New Yorker who came with us and hung
trip.
out for the day. Yeah, and then we just went out and went sort of on a bit of a bar crawl afterwards. And every bartender we ran into would be like, "Oh, we got married today," and he's like, "Oh, I did that at City Hall." It was just a
trip.
really like cool sort of New York community thing to do. It was super fun, man.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
Maybe that's where I'll get married if I ever.
Oh man,
Take
it
that
was
step.
it was really great, and it was just like a total blast. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Good for you.
Hamish, just twist your mic towards your mouth a
Sure.
bit, brother.
How's that?
The other way. There you go.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to stay still.
Yeah, just throw.
No, it's all good.
When- if you move around, just move the mic with you. Just
Sure.
Yeah.
do this kind of shit.
Yeah, I'll get used to it.
Cool.
Yeah, we're all still trying to get used to it. Oh. So, you're back in Toronto. You were in Toronto over the holidays, right?
Yeah.
And then you were out west. Were you back home out west? Because from my understanding, you're from a little island. in
Yeah,
BC.
yeah. I grew up on a little island a couple hours outside of Vancouver, Bowen Island, it's called. And
I looked it up. It's gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Holy
yeah,
fuck.
yeah. Like it sort of growing up there ruined
Bring that mic up.
Scenic places for me for my
Sure.
entire life. You know what I mean? Like it's just the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
it's
never gets
gorgeous.
old. You know, you go out there and you have these like sort of fjord style mountains that come right out of the
Oh, wow.
ocean and stuff. And yeah, it's gorgeous. And when I was growing up, there was only like, I think when I was born, there was like 1,000 people there. Now it's obviously.
Bit of a tourist attraction.
Yeah, it's a
I can
real
imagine.
destination, man. And it's like, you know, I hesitate to use the word gentrified, but it sort of is like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the demographic shifts have happened. You know,
I can imagine.
and I still have a lot of pals there and stuff, but it's it's expensive to buy houses there.
I can
as
only
it is-
imagine.
as it is everywhere. But,
So how far off the mainland is it?
it's like to get there from downtown's a couple hours, right? The ferry from Horseshoe Bay is only like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a fair distance from the.
Yeah,
Over
yeah,
there.
it'd be a good swim for sure. You know, like
Yeah.
it would take you a while.
When you
That's
ran
no
away
cool.
from home when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Shit.
knew where to find you.
Oh yeah. One
On
of
the
my-
beach.
Yeah. One of my brothers was out fishing with a pal of his in the middle of the sound there one day and tipped and had to swim half of it.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
And his buddy, they had had a couple, you know, it was his birthday, right? And they were having a few and whatever. And
fun.
Sam and Scotty flipped in the boat. And Scott is a huge, like, sort of physical specimen of a guy, his friend. And he had this leather jacket that he didn't want to let go of. And he dragged it, you know, the whole
Really?
They must have swam
Wow.
almost 2 miles, right? You know, to get
Oh,
back to shore,
my.
like in early May. So it was like,
Do not try this at home.
yeah, so out.
Jesus, man. That sounds like one of those I Survived shows.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my brother, Sam, my older brother, he's one of those guys that just is like one of the luckiest people. You know, he gets in these situations, right? And you're like, you did what? And then what decision did you make? You know? and then, but he always comes out with a smile on his face. Pretty,
Amazing.
blessed guy. Yeah.
And he gave his brother some stories.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
Trip.
Lots.
Yeah,
Wicked.
cool,
Yeah.
man.
Is it cold water?
Yeah,
Hey, that's the
I'd say it's
Pacific,
cold.
right?
Yeah, especially that time of year, or you know, any time of year it's cold. You know, it's you jump in there in August, and you know,
Well, and
it's
around
not-
the islands too, it's
it's
always turning
refreshing.
over,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's it
Yeah.
doesn't just sit there and get warm like any lake.
See,
No, man.
I saw a shark. I saw Jaws. This is what I think about. You swim for a half a mile
Yeah,
in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
you're bound to meet one of those.
Well, you'd think orca.
orcas. Yeah, there's more of that coming back. They used to have a pulp mill up at the end of the inlet there by Squamish, and they've since closed that, and that kept a lot of the wildlife out, obviously, because you had a lot more boat traffic, and then you had a lot more pollutants coming in, and so that area is really cleaned up. So we've been seeing like whales coming back, you know, a lot of orcas and humpbacks and stuff like that.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Oh
though,
yeah,
man.
it's been really like
must be
incredible to
beautiful.
watch. Oh, it's stunning, man. Yeah.
You know, I worked in BC, up in Kitimat,
Oh yeah.
maybe. It's a really small,
Yeah.
tight thing. And they had a bay.
Yeah.
Everyone's call time that morning was 7 a.m. except for mine. Mine was 9 a.m.
Okay.
And when I got there at 9 a.m., everybody's going, "Those whales were incredible." Oh my God. And I'm going, the fuck did I miss?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
You got to get up early.
You gotta
the
get up
whales all
early,
came
man.
up and-
Yeah, so you
into the
got
bay.
for sleeping in.
Yeah, it was really sad for me. But
Yeah,
all right. So you're an actor,
I am. Yeah,
but you started in theater. Yeah?
I did. Yeah. So
I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, let me get a shot of that.
Yeah.
Wear it all the time. It's a regular in the rotation.
Now,
this one. It's a
what's
real
funny
beauty.
is that you opened it, all you could read was Andy Butcher, which,
It's true.
which is
True.
technically him.
Oh, there you go,
Represent.
man.
Represent Baby
Yeah,
Butcher.
yeah, the evolution of the T-shirt. There you go, man. So I started in theater, I guess. I mean, I'm an electrician, right? Like I grew up in a construction family and stuff like that. So
Okay.
my father's a carpenter, my stepdad was a general contractor, and
Right on,
I'm
man.
a Red Seal electrician, and I worked on a framing crew forever and stuff like that, you know.
Wow.
And was working on framing crews, and it rains a lot out there. So I was like, how does a guy get dry around here? And, you know what I mean? so I started pulling wire and stuff like that. And then as soon as I got my ticket, I went to New York City after that. And the island I grew up on is was when I was a kid, was sort of a mix of like hippies and rednecks and stuff, you know, like sort of artists out there and other folks and people who wanted to live in the bush and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Right on.
Yeah, man, it was a good spot to be, you know, a lot of
creativity.
tons. Yeah, I mean, I think I heard somebody say, and I don't know if this is true, but that Bowen Island had one of the highest per capita rates of artists, meaning that people who make their living that way, you know, in the country.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it was a really creative
I don't
spot.
imagine it's a cheap place to live.
Well, when I was a kid, it was, you know.
Really?
So somebody
Yeah,
else
okay.
discovered it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I suppose
yeah.
that's
I mean,
true.
the ferry, you know, to be honest, is a pain in the ass, right? So it should be more expensive than it is, but you know that sort of keeps it from being, you know, yeah, because you know it's difficult to get back and forth at times.
Yeah,
and
that makes
certain
sense.
amenities and stuff like that. So, but when I was a kid, it was like undiscovered in that way. You know, there wasn't. It was just all working class for the most part.
Okay.
You know, and a few other people, but. And then there was a large contingent of summer folks that lived out there too. But there was like, you know, my folks were involved in community theater and stuff like that. So there was a lot of that around. Nobody that really made their living that way too much, you know.
But it was a small community entertaining itself.
Yeah. And a lot of like sort of intellectuals and stuff like that. And people that were really interested in that sort of kind of storytelling, you know.
Like,
So-
wait,
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, were you born on the island, like in a hospital on the island, or is that a?
No, I mean, like, you know, when I mean, I was born in a hospital in North Van, but that's only because, you know, as soon as my mom went into labor, they put her on a boat and drove her to the hospital,
Okay,
right?
okay.
I don't know if I know anybody who's actually born on the island because that's quite dangerous.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
picture Hamish's mom
Yeah.
at the front end, the bow of the boat. See, I know stuff.
I-
Skipping across the waves.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, faster.
Shit.
Yeah. So,
Okay, never mind. Slow down.
yeah.
That's fascinating. So you got your electrician's ticket.
Yeah.
One of the things I've never done is electricity. Electricity scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So were you doing like plays and stuff? Is that what it is? You would do.
Yeah, I was sort of doing plays over there, and then this dude came. His folks lived on the island. He didn't grow up there, but his folks lived over there, and he came to see some play that I was doing over there, or whatever. And he'd been to New York and gone to school there, so you know he was a bit of a big deal or whatever. And he was like, oh, you know, you're pretty good at this. You should go to this school that I went to. And I was like, right on. And he'd like didn't finish the sentence, and I like was out the fucking door and Googled this fucking thing, you know.
Amazing.
And
How old were you?
24.
Okay.
Something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. And you know, because I was right at the end of my ticket, and which took me about 5 or 6 years to get, I think.
Right.
And yeah, and so I went home, I Googled this thing, and then I bought a ticket and went out to New York, and then that was sort
fast.
of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like my old man's from New Jersey, so we went out and stayed with some of his family out there.
Right on.
And went into the city, and you know, that first time I'd been to New York, really, you know. And I came out of the Port Authority, you know. I don't know if you guys have ever gone
Nope,
that way.
never been to
through
New
the-
York.
What?
I've never been to
No,
New York.
me
Oh,
neither.
shit.
I know.
shit.
I'd like to be there.
Really?
I'd love to go.
Oh, you guys got to come down.
I got to
man.
get
like I've
married
been
there.
everywhere
Yeah,
else.
you
And
gotta get married there. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys should come down. I mean, if you like cities, you know what I mean. It's
I do. I've
it's
been to
a
every
good
other
one.
city in the United States.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
weird, man.
Yeah, you gotta come down, man. It's not that far. We just drove here. It was 8 hours. I mean, not nothing, but not terrible
man,
either,
fuck it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Road trip.
But yeah, I mean, you come out of that like we came first time we went in there. We were staying out in New Jersey, and as I said, and then we came in on a bus through the Lincoln Tunnel up into the Port Authority, right in the middle of the fucking thing, and you come into this like if you've never seen it before, it's like coming into the innards of a beast or something. You know, there's like houses built into the cliff face, and there's just all this like infrastructure and city and energy and shit, right? And I just remember walking out of the Port Authority, you know, right there on 42nd Street, and I was just like, yes, this.
I belong here.
Yeah, this.
Wow.
I want some of this, whatever's going on here.
Wow.
And just the amount of like creativity and energy that you feel like instantaneously coming in to especially that part of the city, you know, is like for a kid from, you know, the fucking wilds of the West Coast, it was a pretty amazing feeling, right? And that was it. Yeah, and like, and then so we went and checked out this school, and I was like, all right, I didn't look anywhere else. I said, yeah, I'm gonna go to this place.
Is the school still in existence?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you name it?
Yeah, it's called the Neighborhood Playhouse.
Okay.
I taught there for a couple years, actually, like a few years ago, before the pandemic and stuff. So it was
on.
nice
Oh, wow.
to, yeah. So we're still a big part of the community there, which is nice, And that's another special thing about New York is that there's like a real pedagogy there. There's this feeling like all the artists, people in the theater community, and all that. There's like a real feeling of like reaching up and reaching down simultaneously. Like everybody's a student and teaching. You're part of this lineage. And when you engage in the community there in a real way, you feel that. And like I reach out to people for guidance and advice. For all sorts of different things, business or artistically or whatever. And I have students that I've taught that do the same for me, So you really feel part of something in a way that I think is special to that place. I don't know though,
Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool, man. And you gotta sort of like really, it can be a difficult place to be at times, So you gotta like earn it a little bit, which is also nice.
But that difficulty, like what is it? It's just that the challenge of peers being as solid, if not more solid than what you think you are, or is it a talent thing, a skill thing?
It's super competitive, yeah. Like in a way that I enjoy. It's like, wow, you're in such close proximity to people that you would be sort of in competition with, or creators who are sort of moving the needle, And so you look and you're like, wow, look at that guy and look what he's doing,
yeah.
And that's the level, man, and fucking A. And if you have a little bit of ambition or aggression, in that sense, then it's the right place for you.
Yeah,
it's exciting and it makes you way better. You can't be lazy there.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
That's the beauty of it, though.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man. And that there's something about like sort of the like lack of reverence just because of maybe work that you've done before, so you have to earn the respect like every day.
Yeah,
like
everybody's
every
doing
time.
that work every day.
Yeah.
You can't rest on your laurels
Exactly,
and say, I did this movie. Well, tough shit.
Yeah.
I did this one.
Yeah. I mean, you get a little bit of respect for it, but
sure, of
but
course.
What are you doing now?
Right.
And the thing about live theater is that you got to bring it every fucking
the immediacy.
day. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't care if you were good one day on this movie. You know what I mean? Are you good now? Are you good for 3 months in a row? You know what I mean? Eight times a fucking week. Like
I've never done a play. I love Take Two.
Yeah. Take Two's always the best. So you were gonna be an electrician, and I mean you were obviously you were doing theater because you were having fun.
Yeah.
Were you planning on doing something with it prior to this friend introducing the school?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think that like when I think at that age I was just so present tense. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do with the rest of my life.
Right.
I was like, New York, yeah, awesome. Be a movie star, fucking A.
Why not?
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'll do that for sure, right? And so I think that was more of it, and I do think that like when I went there, I was so sort of enamored with this new energy that I had found, this city and all this stuff, and intrigued by all these new people and new ideas that I was meeting. But I think I really like wanted to be a movie star. I don't think I wanted to be an actor, And there's a difference. Like,
big time,
in like, it's changed now. I think in our day and age, movie stars have to be really good actors now, and maybe that wasn't the case once upon a time, but now, movie stars are like our man Renner, like
100%.
Absolutely.
like that dude is
big time,
unbelievable, right? So and there's countless guys like that, so it's a bit different. But I think what I wanted was like some level of fame or prestige or something like that, and it wasn't until I got sort of kicked around a bit by the city and the business and other actors and all that stuff, that I started to fall in love with the work of it, right? And and there's a difference, right? Like like I was saying, like I had the opportunity to teach at the neighborhood playhouse. I went and did my master's in England, and then came back, and then they gave me a job to teach there and stuff. And you could sort of see which of the students wanted to be actors and which of them liked movies. You know, because some people were really interested in other people and like learning about what makes other people tick and mining themselves for similarities and all that sort of stuff. You know, they were interested in the world, and other people just sort of wanted to be on camera. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like some movie stars are personalities.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly all. That's all they are.
Yeah, and I mean, not to take anything away from
No,
that.
of course
I mean, it's a
not.
lot of
Nothing
work,
disparaging.
You know? Yeah, but I think that's sort of what I had sort of had in mind for myself, you know.
Right.
And then
Excuse me.
through doing a lot of theater and you know, especially like regional theater in the U.S. and stuff like that, and working with like amazing artists who don't have the same level of sort of recognition, you know, but are incredible in their right, you know. That I sort of was like, okay, I enjoy like storytelling and I enjoy the work that takes before you get to camera or before you open or whatever, right? So if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
But I imagine being a theater actor too has really opened up a certain type of appreciation that for the actual acting of it. I mean, there are guys that might audition in Toronto and get a big role and never seen anything prior.
Yeah.
They get to a movie set and they're actually learning everything while doing this.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, to be honest, I sort of feel like that when I get on a set too, though. You know, like it's a very different medium. You know, like the style of it. You know, the bones of it are the same. You know, like the character work you do or the backstories or whatever you're doing. You know, but yeah, I don't know. I get nervous when I get on movie sets still. You know, and I'm like, shit, am I gonna fuck this up? And you know what I mean?
There's always take two.
There's always take two. There's always take two. But the process of rehearsing a play, you know, is some weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And you always have, you know, somebody you'll do something and they'll be like, oh, that was pretty shit actually, but you can go home and come back the next day and you know having fixed whatever it was that you were doing wrong, whereas you get like film acting is so exciting in that way that you know you've done all this work and then you come and to the set that day and it's on, man. You know, there's no like rehearsing it before with everybody. You're in your hotel room learning your fucking lines, and then you come that day and then you're standing across from somebody that you admire, you know, some actor you've been watching your whole fucking life, and now you have to do it, right? And sort it out right now. Right, because everybody woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get this shit ready for you to stand there and do your fucking thing. So do it, you know. And
if you feel you fucked up, and the director says we're moving on, you don't get to come back tomorrow and do it again.
No, you don't, man.
That just gets edited in.
Yeah, and it's there forever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I suppose that's a thing, man. Yeah,
it's a bit of a thing. I mean, you know, whatever. It's not like, you know, some of the guys that you had on before, you know, have been to war and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's still just making movies, but there's a bit of pressure you feel anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
far,
of course
man.
there is.
Yeah.
There are more. Unfortunately, I mean, there are more people looking at you than some of our friends that have been to war.
Oh,
and,
100%,
you know,
yeah.
they come away from a different type of thing. But
Yeah. But
wild.
yeah. So anyway, so I ended up there, and it was like it was a great time. Like I was staying with my dad's family like an hour and a half out in New Jersey, so I'd take the bus in from Denville, New Jersey, like 2 hours to the Port Authority. And I didn't know how the subway worked, you know, because I had only been on Bowen Island, and the biggest city I'd ever been to was Vancouver a couple times, and so I'd walk across town because I didn't know how the train worked. So I'd walk, you know, an hour and a half to get to school, you know.
Oh, fuck.
But I was happy as a pig in shit, right? You know, it was like a 4-hour commute, but I was like, this is amazing, right?
And then you had to go home.
Yeah. And that lasted a little bit, and then I found a spot in the city, and then, you know, was there for a while, and then that was a 2-year program, graduated from there, and then sort of hung around in the city for a bit. You know, getting sort of beat up and auditioning and not getting parts and getting some parts and doing plays out in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. And then it just sort of wore on me a little bit, and so I decided to go back to school again. And I had seen there's this really awesome movie theater downtown on Houston Street that isn't there anymore, called the Sunshine Cinema, and it had been like a Yiddish theater. It had been a performing arts center for 100 years, and then they recently turned it into a shopping mall, which is like brutal, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I went there to see a movie, and the movie was called Shame. It was a Steve McQueen movie with Michael Fassbender.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
Shame.
And I was like, holy fuck, who are these guys? And you know, how are they doing this thing? And then I ran home and I watched his first movie called Hunger, which is about the hunger strikes in Northern Ireland. And it's a movie about Bobby Sands, and Michael Fassbender plays Bobby Sands. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to learn how to do, whatever this guy's doing. And he went to this school called Drama Center, which is in London, and it's I don't think it's there anymore. But so again, I got sort of the same bee in my bonnet that I had when this guy had said, you know, you got to go to New York, and I went to England.
You got to stop talking to people.
Yeah, exactly. and they had a program there that was like a European classical theater program. So I did that, and it was like a master's course, and that took us to Russia for a semester, which was like 3 months, and that's
wild.
Oh man, it was really cool. Yeah,
Russia.
Yeah, it was cool because like the sort of beginnings of American film and theater acting all start in Russia. They start with this guy named Stanislavski, right?
Right.
And then this one theater company called the Group Theater, which were sort of students of his in a way, right? And so it's all an extrapolation of these Russian techniques. And so I figured that I was going to go over there and get this like magic pill that was going to make me the most talented person in the world, right? And so I sort of like climbed to the top of the mountain to be like, yeah, you know, it's show me the fucking trick, right?
Yeah, baby.
And
That's
I get it, man.
yeah, totally. And that changed me, man, totally. Like they said, you know, they said work hard, kid. That was it.
That's the pill?
Yeah, here's the fucking steps.
Man.
Follow these steps and work hard, and there's no tricks. And I was like,
and don't
okay.
give up.
And don't give up. Exactly.
And you took a lot out of that?
Oh man, it was huge. Like it was pivotal, man, because there was nothing else to know after that. There was no other tricks. You know, it came down to the fact of my own hard work. If I decided, and the only thing that was going to stand in the way was my own like laziness. You know, so. Right. So once I had all the information, once I went to the source and learned what they had to teach, that was it. You know, there's the only thing I have now to count on is myself. There's nothing else I'm missing.
Wow.
So then it was just about like hard work and applying some of these things that they had taught me to do. You know.
So how do you keep up with the practice between shooting?
You just gotta sort of like take care of yourself. You know, I mean, you are like the
instrument.
Yeah, you're the instrument, which sounds kind of stupid or crazy or whatever, but that's what
it's
it
true.
is. You know what I mean? But like that's what I say, right?
Yeah, it's
You're
just
the
what it
instrument.
is. I mean, it sounds silly because everybody says it, but
yeah,
I am my instrument.
yeah, exactly. It sounds like I always feel like I'm being pretentious or something,
Right.
but so you just gotta like take care of yourself.
It's true.
You know what I mean? And that's like in all ways, like physically, and you gotta take care of your mind and shit, so that you can handle not getting what you want on a regular basis. You know, sometimes you get what you want, and sometimes you step in shit and you get really lucky, but more often than not you don't.
Rejection.
Yeah, and you know, the longer you're in it, the less you take that shit personally. Because there's so, I mean, look, it's a fucking miracle you get a job.
Yeah.
Like with the amount of people that have to decide
Totally.
and all the shit that's got to come together.
Totally.
It's a fucking miracle.
But we've all done auditions where
Yeah.
we didn't get them.
Yeah.
And then you see the commercial, the TV series, or the movie,
Yeah.
and go, "Oh,
Yeah.
I get it,"
Yeah.
because that wasn't me.
Totally. Or they change it completely, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like I there was a woman that I knew that that auditioned for a part, and I helped her with the audition process, and then and she didn't get it. And then when we saw the show, they had cast like a 75-year-old, quite large man in her part, and she was like a 30-year-old beautiful woman.
So somebody rewrote.
Yeah, completely. And she was like, "Oh, why didn't I get it? And who got it? And blah blah blah." And it turns out it was this 75-year-old dude.
Yeah, so do your audition and walk away. That's your job.
Totally.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
So why beat yourself up over it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the pandemic changed a lot of things for me, which was that, one thing that was difficult about being an actor versus like being a musician was like how do you practice on the regular, you know? And with self tapes, you know, it gave us this tool of being sort of self-analytical. So I can make a tape, I can watch it, and I know that I have taste, you know, I have good taste, and I'm like, that's bad, I don't believe that, or whatever. So I can sharpen my skill
interesting.
set.
But then so can everyone else.
So can everyone else. Yeah.
So the competition stays.
The competition stays, but your skill set gets better. You know what I mean? And and the competition, like, one thing that I think I've learned that helps me is that the competition should be exciting. You know, like it should be like, oh, that's the game. All right. You know, like it should be like challenge accepted.
But you know, one of the things that we're not doing anymore is you're not walking in with a little bit of nerves when you see in that one room all of your competition, or you know, a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, oh God, he's here.
Yeah. Why is everybody wearing a cowboy hat? Like,
Yeah.
fuck,
That's hilarious.
you know?
Yeah, that's
Like,
funny, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, when obviously, you know, sometimes you go sit in an audition room back in that time, and there's like a whole whack of other dudes that kind of look like you.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them have red hair, some of them with this, with that. Yeah. But I mean, the director already knows
Yeah, they've got it.
who they have coming, like who they're waiting for that thing that's in their head to walk in through that door.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, to some degree,
and nothing personal.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have the, like, he's thinking of some red-haired fucking tall something, and then you walk in, you kind of have to change his mind to some degree.
Yeah.
Or her.
I'll say you have to change their mind every time, because
Yes. Right.
like if somebody has been working long enough that they're in making decisions about a project, right? Then they have met a lot of people and they have a lot of friends, and they have somebody in mind for this part. Hands down, they do. And if you don't know them, either that person, they're in a really tight spot and they need somebody yesterday, or you need to do a level of work that makes them come to their friend and say, sorry, man, you should have seen this fucking guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
And you need to be so like right for it.
That's the
and
best.
prepared to make them say, you know.
Yo,
sorry.
that'd be a good feeling. It's like a home wrecker, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a sort of secondhand story about that with that actor James Jordan, you know, who was on Mayor of Kingstown.
James.
Right? Yeah, a really good dude, right?
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Really
and
enjoyed
I heard a story about him getting a part over somebody else that was like the part was written for them, and
Wow.
and their buddy was like, yeah, but you should have seen this dude, man, you know. And then the guy watched the tape and he's like, yeah, you're right, he's the guy for the part.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Really, eh?
Yeah, and I mean, it just sort of, you know, whoever's best for the story, if they have the luxury of making a choice that way, and it's not like time based or whatever, you know.
Can I tell you my favorite James Jordan story?
Yeah.
He's all beat up. He's tied to the rack out in the yard.
Yeah.
Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah.
And he gets shot.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to see James hanging there by his wrists.
Yeah.
So I went to Steven, the director, and I said, I'm going to stick an apple box under James's ass so he can sit there. What's your frame? And Steven told me his frame's from here up, right?
Yeah.
It's a close-up, basically.
Yeah.
of James.
Yeah.
Well, watch the show.
Yeah.
He falls on an apple box.
You serious?
Yeah. They chose the shot from back a little ways, and as he drops, it's pretty quick. Blam.
Yeah.
But you see
Yeah.
my apple box.
Oh fuck.
It's funny, that sort of shit now.
Yeah, it
eh?
is.
You're always looking for that stuff.
No one's ever
Oh,
mentioned
that's
it to me, but I
that's the
see
one
it.
they took.
Yeah, no one sees
yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of that, speaking of auditioning and all that stuff, I mean, Robert is your character on Mayor of Kingstown, starring Jeremy Renner and created by Hugh Dillon and Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
It's wild as fuck. Number one. How'd that feel, getting this role of Robert? Tell us a little bit about
how did that happen? Like,
well, you know, I've never asked from the other end because I don't want to know, because I just fucking stepped in shit, to be honest with you. Like, it was quite possibly like one of the, it was a life-changing experience.
Amazing.
It was like a paradigm shift in the kind of work that I'd been doing. You know, like this is my first time as a series regular and you know, working on something like that. So I feel like I sort of got catapulted into this other stratosphere, right? And so I just was really fortunate to be in the right spot at the right time. I think was part of it, because I think that they needed somebody really quickly. My audition process was fast.
Okay.
Right?
But there must have been some other guys doing it.
Oh, I think they put the word out. Yeah, and I know a couple guys that auditioned for it, and they're really good actors. But sometimes, you know, you get a script or some sides or something, and you look at them and you say, oh, yeah, I could do that. You know, they're gonna probably find this guy, you know, but I could do that. And then sometimes you get one and you're like, oh, that's me. Right. And those are the ones you have to double down on. Those are the ones where you have to be like, I'm not giving them any excuses to say no to me, right? And it's rare. It's super rare. Like, I've had it only a few times, but this thing with this particular project was, you know, the audition came in late. Like, it came in like Friday, at like midnight. You know, I was watching a movie and I was just like about to go to bed, and I was like, well, what the fuck's this? And,
no shit.
you know, oh yeah, and it never comes in like that. And then I read the breakdown, and I was like, oh, Taylor Sheridan, like, what the fuck, you know? I mean,
Who's that?
Well, yeah. I mean, Wind River's like one of my favorite
Trip,
movies,
100%.
like hands down. You know, he's one of the great creators, right? And I was like, wow. And then I read the sides, and I was like, oh, this guy like talks like me. You know, he's going around calling everybody brother and this and that. And I was like, he's got the similar, like, you can just feel it. You know, you can feel the cadence of the speech and stuff. And that was really exciting. So then I just like killed myself to get it right, you know, and just worked on it. And it was due like on Monday at like 9 a.m. So I shot it on Monday at 7 a.m. And I had a really busy weekend of other side gigs that I was doing at the time. And yeah, I mean, it was just sort of magic, you know, that way.
Wow.
And yeah, and then you know, you send it off, and then you just sort of sit there, right, for a few days, and we weren't hearing anything back, and then I was my wife was in Toronto because it was COVID, right, sort of rules, so she wasn't able to come down to New York, and we had just come out of that period, and I was in New York for that COVID times, and that was a fucking wild time, man. So it was just sort of, we were just coming out of all that, you know, and my wife was helping me put another audition on tape for this crazy play, and so we were FaceTiming at the time, and then the text came through that I got the part, and I hadn't told her where it's shot, you know, because I didn't want her to get her hopes up and all
Fucking
that
right,
shit.
man.
Oh, that's off. Well,
Yeah,
that's kind.
Yeah,
Beautiful stuff.
And then I was like, yo, baby, I got this part, and we weren't married yet, and I was like, I'm gonna come to Toronto and like live with you, and it was her birthday that day too. It was just like
wow.
like a whole bunch of shit, just sort of like, you know, sort of had, and so the whole thing felt like quite fucking serendipitous, you know.
Jesus,
it felt
man.
like, yeah, it was pretty
The
wild.
world
man.
came together, brother.
Yeah, man, it was really crazy. And then like on a personal note, I lost my stepfather during the shooting of Mayor of Kingstown. He had been really sick, and he had a good go, and he had been like a massive supporter of mine, right? We built houses together for a long time and stuff like that, and
Wow.
And he had always been just a huge supporter and encouraged me to do it. There's no way that I would have been able to do what I did without his guidance, you know. And the day before I got the part, he phoned me up and told me that he had 6 months to live, you know.
Oh, my God.
And that was he died some pulmonary issues, and so that it was just a really sort of emotional time, you know. But again, like another blessing that came out of this was that you know he got to see me get to a spot where things were going to be different, you know.
It's wicked.
Man.
Oh, it was unbelievable, man.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, me too.
And he, and I think it meant a lot to both of us that he was you know, he didn't survive to the point where he got to see the show,
Right.
but he knew that I was working at it with people that I admired and at a level that had always been the ambition, and that we were close, you know. Because he felt like my partner in it, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you told that story. That's
you know, he was, me and him were in it together, sort of.
Yo, man, I get that.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah, like you fellas, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like a big thing, and you know, Pete didn't know anything. He's from Kitchener, actually, like right down the road.
Oh, wow.
Here, yeah. And
your stepdad?
yeah, and
Amazing. Cool.
he didn't know anything about our business, but he taught me a lot about just sort of being a straightforward person, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Hell of a time, man.
Oh, it was crazy, man.
What a time.
Yeah,
Crazy,
it was
crazy.
really wild. And it was crazy to to have all that stuff come together and out of, you know, the New York and the pandemic was a fucking crazy place, man. Yeah.
So meanwhile, his lady's up in Toronto having a great time without him during COVID.
Yeah.
And on her birthday, he announces he's coming to live with her.
Well, that must have been sweet, though.
Shit.
Okay, everybody out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
Must have been sweet, though, to come out of COVID with something. Holy fuck.
Oh.
Like, to me, I don't know, COVID, it felt
ruined
like
a
we were
lot
going
of
to all
stuff.
drown. I was like, oh, fuck. Here we go.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I had just closed a play like a couple of weeks before the whole thing went down, you know, and we had lots of success in that play, and I was like, fucking A, you know, here we go, you know, let's ride the
getting your
wave
electrical
of this.
gloves on, you know?
Yeah, and then shit, bang, you know, and for all of us in the theater community there, you know, we were gutted, right, because
Yeah, man.
because we thought
You
that was
kidding?
it for us, you know, we thought that. Oh,
Yeah, they
shit.
shut it all down, didn't they?
Oh yeah, man. And
Broadway's
we were like,
shut down. Everything shut down.
yeah,
Everybody.
everything was.
I'm sure it was awesome when at some point you were allowed 10 people in that theater,
Oh yeah,
you
it's
know,
been
with
great,
their masks
man.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you couldn't sit together.
yeah.
One was up on the balcony,
Yeah.
one's over
To
here.
be or not to be.
Yeah.
It's the only play I know.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was just heartbreaking for everybody because we, you know, I mean, theater people are pretty dramatic, so we were like, that's it forever, you know what I mean? And we thought it was never coming back. and all
Theater
that shit.
people are dramatic. That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
So you came to Toronto to make Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, and I met you guys.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah,
fucking
true.
Crazy.
True.
So I have a question about how did
No, we
you...
don't answer questions.
Yeah,
Oh,
fuck that. Yeah.
okay.
This is
I'll
about
have to
you.
wait.
Ask
Yeah,
yourself
that's
something
good.
if you want. No, go
So
ahead.
how did they? How did you guys put together that team of dudes?
Oh, okay.
it
So,
away, Rain.
well, real quickly, I shot 5 seasons of Flashpoint with Huey.
Right.
So Hugh and I spoke at length over
Hugh Dillon.
Hugh Dillon over 5 years of shooting Flashpoint about this show that he come up with
Yeah.
about the living in a prison city, right? Mm-hmm. And hence this is Mayor of Kingstown. And I didn't know at the time that we shot Flashpoint that he was a friend of Taylor's.
Right.
Taylor was actually Hugh's acting coach in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
So Hugh told me, Butcher, if this ever goes, I want you there.
Yeah.
I'll have you there.
Yeah.
And it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And he called me.
Wow.
So thanks to Hugh. Hugh's the reason I was on Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah.
He set up meetings with me and Taylor on the phone, and I talked to Taylor. I showed Taylor my stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was actually on set in Toronto when Taylor called me, and I had to excuse myself and then tell Taylor, if they call me up, brother, I'm running.
And then Charlie and
Yeah, but
Dave
just a minute. So
Flood.
Taylor said,
Okay.
I want you on the job. So my friend Charlie Taylor was the armorer.
Mm-hmm.
And he put me on to Adam and Dave. So
Yeah.
we went in and had a meeting with Dave.
Dave Flood.
Dave Flood.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friend Dave. and Floody helped me out, and I knew Gord.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with Sean in the past as a PA-duty cop on my shows as like the bomb squad guy or the gun guy. And
you'd worked with me before,
yeah, I have.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So
So I had all these awesomely experienced SWAT guys, military guys,
Yeah.
and then I brought a couple actors on.
yeah.
Nolan and
Derwin
and Andrew.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to do it without him.
Yeah.
And we went in and we trained at the studio for days and days, shot thousands of rounds of blanks
Yeah.
because we're in Canada.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it happened, man. We went into different meetings and we gathered these guys together,
Yeah.
and everybody else I kind of knew,
Yeah.
and said, you're and you want somebody that looks like Derwin.
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, man, he's a beast. I was just he fucking took me.
post.
Oh yeah, he took me to the gym yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, brutal, man.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
only
Oh,
imagine.
he's unbelievable, man. You know, he's such a like soft-spoken dude, but
Yeah,
you know,
he's wonderful.
he's an
Yeah,
absolute
totally.
beast,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
and just like his discipline, you know, in such a nice, calm way, like demands like 100% out of you. You know, you're just like shit.
The dude is 150%.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just look at him and you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah, yeah, and super knowledgeable, great trainer, man.
So I will never go to the gym with him.
No.
Screw that.
unless you want to get in really good shape,
Yeah.
and then that's
Stupid
he's
good.
your man.
Stupid good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how it happened basically, and we all just got together. We went into the training, and I've never worked with a tighter group of guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah.
When they call rap,
yeah.
I'm in my truck and halfway home before you get dressed.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But that's just how I work. But at this show, I hung out. We had drinks in the parking lot. I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved working
Yeah,
on this
dude.
show with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. I mean, especially for me. Yeah, I got to come on board, and I mean, the experience was priceless. These guys are the knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam is one thing, and then to have Gord, Sean,
Yeah.
fucking Dave, and even Casey and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, Casey.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah.
like it's just.
Oh, just the amount of knowledge.
But it's helped my career
Oh, yeah, I'm
already.
sure, yeah.
You know, like I've already utilized half that education in
Yeah.
other things already.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
It was unbelievable, and
Yeah.
not to mention, the guys are incredible.
And I love that we all got together for dinner.
Oh yeah, that was
the
great,
keg, and you
man.
came, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in my world.
Yeah. I mean, I know. That's what I understand, and it'll hopefully the first of many. You know, I mean, those guys are lifelongers.
Agreed,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing. Like I have so much gratitude towards you guys for putting that together, because I'm realize how special it is. Right.
Now, having said that, had he put together 8 stunt guys, it may not have
It wouldn't be the
gone
same.
this way.
Oh,
that's
no,
the
it'd
thing.
be
They
totally
bring this
different,
like
right?
team vibe that is really
Well, those guys
something
serve
that
together, right?
I know,
That's,
it's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
It's amazing.
They're
you
incredible.
Can feel that, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like for me to, and they were so welcoming of me, you know, like I learned just so much, and I realized like all I need to do is show up and do the best that I can to, you know, like some of these stories that we're doing are sort of theirs, that's kin to their life, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you have to pay respect to that, and here they are as a part of it, and here I am as a part of it with them. So, you know, if I can do everything that I can to pay respect to them, you know, then that's sort of gonna.
It'll show up on screen.
Yeah, it'll show up on screen, but it'll also allow, you know, they will like I'm just, what am I trying to say? I'm so grateful that they brought me in the way that they did.
Oh man,
You know,
they're
and
amazing.
it like it showed me the level, like talking about that New York competitiveness, like where's the level at, you know. They showed me a level that my
Interesting.
work has to be at
True enough.
for the rest of my life, I hope, you know. Like
Oh, yeah,
they were like, if you're gonna do something in this arena, in this world, this is how we want you to do it, you know, because that's our life, and you're representing us. So I felt that big time, and they were so gracious about bringing me into it, and like having Adam there was like just a massive turning point in my understanding of what it is to like really dig into something in the film world in terms of like research. Like you hear about these method dudes, and I'm not like that, but just hanging out with Adam and hanging out with all these guys that you would put together and having lunch with them and seeing how they interact with each other, you know, I think it really shows up, you know, how we all interacted on screen and stuff like that, you know.
Totally, man.
And yeah, like I remember, you know, this is my first time sort of playing this level of cop, and you're in the costume fitting, and the costume lady's really lovely, and she's like, well, you know, would you, you know, do you want us to take out the plates, you know, your plates and your bulletproof plates, and put in some foam so it's easier for you to move around? And I was like, yeah, fuck, sure, whatever, man, that sounds good, right? You know? And then fucking Adam comes up to me on the first day and he goes, so I hear you want the foam. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, who the fuck told you that? Right? And he's like, I just want you to know that if you do that, the men will never respect you and they'll never let you live it down. And I was like, right on, man. Plates. Give me all the plates, all the shit.
I'll take extra.
Yeah. I'll take 2, please. Thank you very much. And,
Dude, that's fucking hilarious.
Man. And, you know, I owe him a huge debt of gratitude for doing that. And for being, because a lot of
everybody
guys,
else wore foam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys in the industry, you know, wouldn't have done that. But he was just like, look, I'm doing you a favor here by telling you that you're not living up to the standard. So let's do that. And then not only that, but it totally affected the way that I moved. So it helped with my performance too. So it was just like a massive thing, you know, that he did for me there. And
you can't do that. You can't do that cool grab of the.
Well, it just changes the way that you're.
If you got foam in there.
Like you're just like, if you're wearing all the real shit, then you move, you know, and you sort of start to move like the real guy.
A little slower, a little tougher.
Yeah, there's a weight obviously there, so it just makes a big difference, you know, all that stuff. But I remember the first day we were in Hamilton, and it was like hot, right? Like it was like 35 degrees, right? This is like we were doing episode 3, I think, right? And I'd never had a gun that big before or anything, right? And I'm standing, and these fucking guys we're all standing in the sunshine for all day, right? That day was like a good 12-hour, 10-hour day, and we're standing in the sun, and these fucking guys didn't sit down or anything, you know what I mean? And I this is my first day meeting them, really, you know? And I'm like wearing all this shit, and I'm just trying to keep up, and I'm like, you guys want a chair? And like Adam's like, oh, it's better than war, and I'm like, fuck you, man. You know? I was just like sweating, and Dave is, you know, he's like looking over me, he's dry as a bone, and I'm pouring sweat, and he's like, oh, you're a little sweaty, hey boy, like just busting my balls. It was pretty good. And then I find like we haven't shot anything for about 20 minutes, so I like find a little bit of shade, you know, and I like find a little bottle and like have some water and take off my fucking helmet and shit, and then all of a sudden they're like, Hamish, where's Hamish? We're shooting. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh fuck, and I'm like putting on my helmet, and I got this huge gun and shit, and I'm like look like a total asshole. And then Randy comes around the corner and he's like, all right, this time when you come in the kitchen, there's gonna be a woman there. It's my daughter. And I'm like, oh, cool. And you're gonna yell, get down, bitch, and punch her in the chest. And I was like, okay. They didn't even let me rehearse it. And they're like, action. You know, Sheridan's like, action. And I'm like, okay, kick down the door. Like, get down, bitch. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, God, great. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's hilarious.
Just
it's awesome,
wild,
dude.
Man. It was just like, I felt like really thrown into the fire in a really great way, you know.
Man, that's fucking
one of my
great.
most enjoyable days on set ever.
Man,
that was
a fire day in general.
I remember it so well.
Even you had to jump to hiring Kristen that day, and
that's
like
true.
there was a lot of like jumping and getting things happening now when they weren't necessarily prepared.
What was interesting about that time is everybody had to be COVID checked, right?
Yeah,
right?
that's
you had
true.
to have a test a couple of days in advance.
Yeah.
So hiring a stunt performer on the spur just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you guys were going to storm this crack house,
Yeah.
and Sheridan comes up to me and goes, I need to take down a woman in the kitchen. Well, when did you come up with that? We're ready to shoot. Like everything's ready. And he says, yeah, I need a woman. I said, you need a woman? Okay. Holy shit. What does she need to look like? You got something special in mind? He goes, a woman. That's Taylor.
Yeah.
Just give me a fucking woman. So I called my daughter because I happened to know she was on another show and she's already tested and it would work.
Right on.
But
Yeah, and she
I
was
don't-
also around the corner. From
yeah,
where
she's
we
just
were shooting.
45
Literally.
minutes away. So she just came down completely. She's like you, honey. Put some pads on.
Yeah.
Some guy's
Somebody's
gonna
gonna
run
punch
in
you
here.
in the call you a
Gonna
bitch.
call you a bitch. Yeah. Yeah, we should
Crazy, man.
note for the viewers that we're talking about Adam Winnick. He was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave and all those
Dave and
guys,
Shawnee,
man.
they were all on the podcast.
Yeah, and it was just like huge to have those guys around, because they would, they would give me advice as we were going through it. So we didn't really need to
Yeah.
block in that way, you know what I mean? And you knew that everything was going to be super tight, and it was.
It would
just really
have,
great,
would have
man.
added to the energy of the scene because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
At that moment, right? We all knew we were coming in that house. Well, I didn't. I got to
Yeah.
watch you guys do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I was drinking cappuccino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand here, do the dishes, back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cop's
yeah.
gonna knock you on the ground.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kristen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, man.
and then you shot all those other guys. Hey, the hell, you shot me.
Yeah, man. World record holder Randy Butcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
yeah,
dawned
yeah.
on me. Yeah, it just dawned on me
That was
you-
another bomb fucking day. They were all a bomb.
Dude, that day was maybe one of the best days ever. Because it was so, by that point we were all so tight, and Adam had been like, I'd been bugging him like every day. I'd text him like, "You want to train today? You want to train today? You want to train today?" He'd be like, "Fuck off," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
and so by that point we were all so comfortable that we were basically just like, okay, well, we got to go over there and do that, okay, and we would just sort of do it, right? And everybody
Yeah.
would fall in, and it was super fun, man. And we got to shoot a lot of rounds, and Steven K, awesome
Yep.
dude, was
Yep.
like I wouldn't even be in the shot, and he'd be like, yeah, shoot off 10, 12, we just had all these rounds to shoot, and he'd like, yeah, some of the casings might go through the shot, it's kind of cool, it was super fun, man.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that was a bomb day.
Oh, it was crazy, man.
And basically, even throughout the whole shooting experience of the show, that was basically just a build to a crescendo.
Oh yeah, and we felt like a bunch of little kids, we were all just like, you want to shoot it? Yeah, let's shoot it. You want to blow it up? Yeah, let's blow it up. And then let's light it on fire? Yeah, let's light it on fire. Like, it was just like it was so much happening. I remember we were going through that big rotunda and somebody was like, mattress, and Adam was like, mattress, and then this huge flaming mattress just falls on his head. He's like, oh yeah, mattress. It was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It was
man?
all planned, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it was wild.
Unbelievable, man. Yeah, it was really cool.
Those last two episodes are mental. Like, I shouldn't use that, but crazy
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy, man. It was like, yeah. Like, we essentially made The Rock, that movie. Like, it was like, it was crazy like that. It was super fun, man. Yeah.
That was
Never
fun,
forget it.
man. Yeah, that's a hard one to forget.
It's right there on the wall.
Oh, there it is.
A whole bunch of stunt guys, my SWAT team.
Yeah, every stunt guy in Ontario, right?
Well, no, but close.
We're getting pretty close. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, that
man.
was wild. Man, that was wild. Yeah.
Yeah. What a cool thing to be a part of, man. Like, like you really felt it. It was just, I felt like that on the whole show was sort of all around. That everybody who was on it felt like they were part of something special.
Yeah.
Like all the actors and a lot of us were being asked to do things that maybe we hadn't had a chance to do before, or whatever. So everybody felt like we were coming into this thing as a real team, even though, some of these actors you don't meet, but like, yeah, it was just really cool. Everybody was sort of stretched to their limit.
Well, what's really cool too is that I don't know how many shows I've been on. I've never seen them just snap together a SWAT team and do it the way that it was done.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they weren't just trying to just get across or get by with some believability.
Yeah.
They were like, no, let's get the real shit going.
Yeah.
When you guys move on camera, man, when you see this show, if you haven't seen Mayor of Kingstown, go look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys move so well together. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just am in the middle, and those guys move well together, I think. And then that's the nice thing is that, you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's such a treat because, nobody's looking at me because, they're all looking at these guys move really well. You know what I mean? And and I'm sort of just trying to keep up. So it's like, it's a huge.
Well, that's kind of you to say, but I think
Well, but I mean, in those sequences, I think that's true. And then, like, and then when I would go to do something, Sean or Dave or Adam or Gord would take me aside and be like, okay, you want to do it like this? And Adam would be there or Sean would be there and be like, keep your elbow in, do these things.
100%.
And so you just have these people that cared so much, which I think they were really invested in it. And I think that's a rarity.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And there was something really special about the whole production because, like Hugh was bringing this work back to his hometown after a time, a difficult time, right? There had been COVID and there had been a lot of shutdown and stuff. And then all of a sudden here comes this show and this guy gets to bring this thing back to his hometown, And I think just like that energy alone sort of made the whole thing really special.
Absolutely.
And
So and it was a heavy one too.
Yeah, and it was a heavy one, right?
Yeah.
It was like high quality,
Big time.
big budget stuff. It was really cool, man. Yeah. And he has always been really good to me in making me feel like capable and welcome, and continues to be that.
No, he's a great guy.
Oh man, awesome. Yeah.
And how does it feel to be like the most badass character on the show? I mean, really.
Well, I don't know. That's up for debate, but that's kind of you to say.
I don't know,
you
man.
know what I mean? I'm pretty.
It's
I'm
a pretty
fortunate,
fucking great character, dude.
Oh yeah, shit, man. I mean, it's easy because Sheridan put together this thing that is like it's so well written, and so it's easy for me. I just got to show up and like say it,
Yeah.
And that's it. Just remember my lines, pretty
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah, I think
and the
that's
rest
all.
of it takes care of
That's it.
itself.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah,
we
pretty much.
kept whispering that behind your back.
Brother,
Like,
you-
look at he's doing nothing.
You only have to be on the internet for 5 minutes, and people are talking about Robert the SWAT.
Yeah, but,
man.
I mean, but again, like that's kind of you, but a lot of that is because like the thing that I've learned is that the more experienced and proficient, capable the creator, the better hands you're in. So of
course.
you know what I mean. Like when you're working with Taylor Sheridan, and all of the creators that he put together. You can't go wrong, You just got to show up and be present.
But now it's his mind
Yeah.
that chose you. So in his prep that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and his capabilities was a part of that was his choosing of you, and there's a reason for that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate that I like fit the mold at the time, like it was a real right place, right time shit, and I walked right into it, and I've been on other things that are less well thought out, and they're much more difficult, right? And when you're on something that's like this, again, you just got to sort of show up, right? And that you're in these really good hands, and you prepare your fucking ass off because you have these incredible people around you, so you don't want to look like a jerk, right? But
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're just so well taken care of, like the SWAT team. Like I just got to show up,
Totally,
and these guys
man.
are gonna do it. So
Yeah. That was a
But Taylor,
bonus.
at the same time, is incredibly demanding, and you got to show up, be ready.
oh, you can't be an asshole.
No, man.
No,
No, you got to show your weight. Your weight.
no, but
your weight's there.
I mean, like.
But that's that competition thing you mentioned earlier too.
Yeah.
And people, there's a level that you rise
Yeah.
to, and he makes people rise.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've ever like been around anybody like that. Like the way that he ran a movie set was the way that like my stepdad ran a construction site. So it was like it was pretty great that way, and I felt like I sort of flowed right into it. Because it would be like, I remember that day that we're talking about. He sort of addressed everybody, and he's like, okay, we're going to shoot it like this, and then we're going to shoot it like that, and then we're going to shoot this, and then we're going to go inside, and we're going to shoot this, and we're going to shoot that, and we're going to shoot that, and then we're going to go home. And that's what we fucking did. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was none of this like, oh, well, maybe we could go over here. And
Oh,
you know what I
man.
mean? And everybody's
Yeah.
just like looking at their fucking watches and being like, okay.
His preparedness, his decisiveness.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this.
Yeah. He demanded it something. But when I first met him,
Yeah.
and when I first saw him shooting, I'm going,
Yeah.
10 minutes in,
Yeah.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way he does it, man.
Yeah, you felt so supported. You felt like there was somebody in charge, and that the train was going that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you
and
just
he
gotta
had
get
it
on.
all in his head. He knew what he
Yeah.
was doing
Yeah,
right
yeah.
from the fucking get go, man.
Yeah, and that kind of like leadership is rare, and
Yeah.
it's massively appreciated by me anyway. You know?
So when are you going to show up on Yellowstone?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
You're gonna look funny with that big gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
that little, you'll probably get a little cowboy hat.
A
something
little
small.
one.
Yeah, something
Just
cute.
sitting right there.
I wonder if they could do a cross. You know.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
could-
guys do that. You know, what else is cool is that you feel
Hugh
like,
Dillon did.
yeah, you feel like on his projects, like all those guys came up together. You know.
Yeah.
Like him and Hugh have been friends for years. Taylor was, as I understand it, an acting teacher and a coach in Los Angeles, and a lot of those guys have known him for many years, and you know, and I've talked to people who knew him, you know, well before he had any money or any sort of recognition, and they all stick together, you know.
It's
and,
awesome.
And man, you can feel it in their projects. You're like,
Well, the loyalty is crazy. Same with you when he called me
Yeah.
10 years after the fact, brother. Like,
That's
he-
a big deal.
So they all support each other, and they've supported Taylor in the beginning.
yeah,
So now Taylor's somewhere where he can.
Well, there's nothing
Bring
like
his
being
buddies.
in the presence of familiar energy. You know, it always
Yeah.
feels good to be home. Probably feels the same way when you go to work. You want to
oh,
be with the same
100%.
guys.
Like,
you know.
yeah, like if you know a guy who does a good roof, you know what I mean? Like, why are you going to call somebody else when you need a roof done? Like, that's
That-
who you
exactly.
call, right?
100%.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's sort of the mentality that you feel with them, and that's great, and everybody appreciates that, the roofer and the contractor, you know, everybody's
man.
like in it, right? So
Well, I think on that we should have a celebratory scotch because
Going in.
even on our logo,
yeah.
we have a glass of scotch in our hands.
Oh, okay.
That's
so
true.
we're gonna have
So it
Well,
has to.
just you're here.
yeah.
This is
Yeah, man. Well, you can keep talking. You don't have to watch me open the bottle.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
up to you. but-
it's not like a cooking show where we already have it
Don't tell me
prepared.
what to do. Right on, man. Yeah, that's.
So how did season 2 go?
Oh, we had a great time, man.
And you shot in
Well, sorry.
Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, we shot in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Thanks, son.
Pittsburgh's a great town. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever been, but it's a wonderful place.
I've been once.
Yeah.
I went for. I dated a lady who had a kid who played hockey, and
Yeah.
we went there for her hockey competition, and it was actually great. We loved being in Pittsburgh. It was
Oh
awesome.
man, it's awesome, man. It's a really good town.
Hey,
Okay.
cheers.
Well,
let's keep chatting. but-
Here's to season 3 coming back to Toronto.
Hey, right on, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Break my table.
Delicious, fellas. Thank you.
Yeah, man, cheers. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can I ask you guys another question?
No,
Oh boy, he's gonna keep doing this.
So how did you end up doing this? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do because the old man was doing it?
stunt
or-
work kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know. Yeah, I was a skateboarder.
Okay.
Right. Falling down and destroying myself really was part of my nature anyway.
Yeah.
And growing up under my dad, it was almost like you can't find where it actually began.
Right.
It just my life blended into it. It's not that I had no choice. It's that it was a family game. You know, Kristen, my older sister, she was doing it, and she was doing it hardcore, doing really big things, and you know, and of course I wanted to be a part of it. I started in acting. And I trained as an actor, improv. I did comedy. I did stand-up comedy.
No
I did
shit.
all kinds of shit.
Stand up.
Yeah. That was the OG dream.
Bro, that is like my hat's off, man. Like I don't know how you do that, bro.
Well,
he's funny.
Like-
I didn't do it long enough.
But
yeah,
I mean that takes some serious stones to get up in front of people and do that. Yeah.
well, I think the reason this is actually kind of a thing that I love doing is because I love being on a mic, man. And
Okay, yeah.
showing off my fucking gangster faces and all my bullshit. I love doing it. I don't know why. I just do. You know, but I got into music and all that stuff as well. And I think just being in this business in general is a big deal to me. I want to be a writer. I am a writer. I want to produce and create, direct, write. And with the stunt game was just easy. Just easy to get into. Not easy. It was like it was an easy thought. Yeah, of course.
Right,
of
right,
course I'm going to do this. My dad was my hero.
Yeah.
He still is.
See how funny he is?
So it was just following suit made sense, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost something I don't even know how to answer the question because it's
it was
thoughtless.
just like that. That was the way you went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, man.
They were
I
born
love
into
it.
a film family. They
Yeah.
would come to set when they were little,
Right.
you know.
And he didn't even talk that like he talked about stunts, but a lot of it was like it was storytelling. He loved movies, which is why he got into it. And we were always at Blockbuster, and we were always watching movies. And it took us 3 and 4 hours to get through a movie because he's pausing it, rewinding it, just showing me this, doing that.
Yeah, cool.
You know. And when we were kids, you kind of go, "Come on, Dad, just let's watch the movie."
Yeah.
As you grow up, you realize the shit you know. So that's another part of it. It's just it's all blended, and now I'm here, and there's no other way.
Yeah.
It's my life.
Yeah, cool, man. And what, like, how did you get into it?
Fell into it.
Yeah. Literally?
No, it's stupid stunt jokes. Well, I've said this many times. I was my generation was the first generation born into a household with a moving picture. My parents had radio. I had television.
Oh, wow.
So the moment I discovered that what those people were doing on that black and white box, there was a job. You could actually do that. I thought, I'm going to do that. So in my teens, I studied acting as well. But when I discovered Hollywood was not waiting for me,
Yeah.
I took my gymnastics, my martial arts, and acting, put them in a cup, gave it a good shake, and out fell a stuntman.
Cool.
So then I just knocked on doors, and going back to what you said originally, I just never gave up.
Yeah, right on.
And so I just do it, and I was a ninja, and this guy taught me something, then I taught him something, and he taught me something, and it's just been years and years and years and years, and here we are.
That's cool, man. And was it always in Toronto?
Yeah, well, I've worked all across Canada,
Yeah.
and I've worked in Europe.
Yeah.
I've been offered lots of work in the States, but I've never endeavored to get my green card or
Okay.
an O1 or whatever that visa is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've just called friends in the States, take it or whatever.
Yeah.
As a young father, I was one of the youngest guys in the stunt business in Toronto who had children.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Make a great living here. I'd just rather not.
Personally, I'd like the visa, and I was going to ask you to marry me, but
Should have had me on last
It's
week.
so
man.
fun in New York. Yeah, so that's my story.
Ah, that's cool, man. That's cool. And how long have you been doing it now, man?
Oh gosh. I said,
45.
well, I registered my company, Real Stunts Productions, in 1982. Yeah,
awesome.
and before that, I was doing Wild West shows and
Yeah. So did you have another job before that? Like, were you,
tons of jobs.
wait, but like another career before that, or it was always just?
Well, I ran a really big kung fu and karate school
Oh, no kidding.
for years and years and years, and I ran my stunt company out of that.
Cool.
But driving truck,
Yeah.
doing different jobs.
Yeah.
I've had I am living proof. If you want a job,
Yeah.
you can get one.
Fuck
yeah,
it,
he's
man.
had like a
If you
million
want-
fucking jobs.
Because
man.
I would
It's
get an audition.
Yeah.
I would call in sick.
Yeah.
They'd find out I'd get fired.
Yeah.
I'd go get another job.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
I would quit to go to do another
Yeah.
audition.
Yeah. That's the trick. You just got to find something that can sustain you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty wild. That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I worked for. I did a bunch of like maintenance and shit in New York too. The electrical ticket doesn't transfer. Anybody listening?
Oh, is that right?
who's
Well, I
looking
was
to-
gonna
who's
ask you that,
looking to travel with
because
a
you said
trade,
earlier you
become
got
a
your
carpenter.
ticket. Yeah. You said you got your ticket and then went to New York, and you were like,
Yeah, but
Or were
the
you just
unions
waiting to
there
get
are
that
super
done?
strong. I got my ticket because like I wanted to finish it. You know what I mean?
I see,
And I
I
was
see,
like
yeah,
in my
of course.
fourth year at BCIT, and I was like, let's just get this red seal. And then I haven't been practicing for years, but I could, I guess. If somebody was to hire me now.
Well, I
don't
have
know.
something upstairs.
Oh, dude!
I'd
All
like
right,
you to
well,
look at.
I'll fix a couple lights for Andy.
I saw that little boy get zapped off the fence in Jurassic Park and said, "I'll
And
never
that
touch
was
a
it,
fucking
eh?
light socket."
Yeah. I got knocked out once.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I was like in New York. There's a lot of unions and stuff, right, that are difficult to get into. That take a while. So to be a registered electrician there is harder, right? And then if you're going to practice yourself, you need all this insurance and blah blah blah. So I was doing like under the table maintenance shit, and I was helping this dude with his bar. I was bartending for him at another bar, and then I started doing some work for him too. And it was like in the middle of the day, and it was a club, and I was working on some plugs or something, and all the colors were wrong in there. You know, somebody had been in there messing around with it, sort of like I was in there messing around.
Oh, like the colors of the wires?
Yeah. And anyway, it fucking blasted me, and I woke up on the floor.
No way.
And I think it just hit me back, and I hit my head or something, and that's why I don't think the electricity actually knocked me out.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not good. but there was all these stories in electrical school of guys who worked with like 347 volt shit, and that voltage grabs you. It doesn't blow you back. It contracts your muscle.
Oh.
Yeah. So like his buddy, you know, one guy.
Like a taser.
Yeah, it'll grab you, right?
Yeah,
347 volts.
What's that in?
That's like a 3-phase. That'd be like in any industrial building. Like it would step down to 208 after that, probably, or something. I'm getting this all fucked up. It's been a while.
Hey, man, I don't know shit.
Yeah,
You could be telling me anything, but
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while. I could
Electricity
probably
scares
still
me.
do it, but I got knocked out, and I'm forgetting something.
Don't call me for an electrical job. That's for sure. Yeah, but then mostly bartending. Bartending was the thing that was easier to do because you had days off and stuff like that.
yeah, and it freed up your time
Yeah.
during the day to
Exactly,
audition and
and,
stuff.
and then everybody just found like if you were in New York long enough, you usually found. I worked at the same place for 10 years. I worked for this saint of a guy named John Bird, and
Bird.
they don't have this sort of place so much anymore. It is sort of a bit of a tragic story about like. So John had opened this restaurant. He had it for 35 years at this point. He opened it in the 80s, and it was this very strange Tex-Mex place on the Upper West Side of Manhattan called Santa Fe, and it was awesome. And then in the pandemic, his rent was whatever $30,000 a month or whatever.
Jesus.
And so he ended up having to sort of relinquish the business to the landlord. you
Oh,
know?
fuck.
Yeah, man, it was tough times. But yeah, it was like, what am I trying to say about John Bird? That he had this place where I worked there for 10 years, and at one point I left for 2 years, and then I came back, and one of the guys had left for 15 years and then came back, right? And there was these like, they're like patrons of the art, these guys, right? And they would, like, John was an old jazz musician and like a race car driver and shit. He was an awesome dude. And he'd be like, "What are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here!" Like, go and become an actor already and shit like that.
Amazing.
And then you'd come in and he'd buy you lunch. If you were in town and you were looking for a job, and he'd give you a job and he'd make space for you and shit. And it was like a real family. And I wouldn't have gotten through my time there in New York without a family like that.
I suppose that's sort of a thing, eh? For every actor that is trying to do the thing.
Shit, yeah, man.
It's this guy. This guy is one of them.
Yeah,
Part
and
of the
like,
process.
and places like that are fewer and farther between, from my understanding of it, and they are the lifeblood of the artistic community in a city like that.
Yeah.
Without places like that, the artistic community cannot thrive. Because you need places
Man.
for these artists to have their breadwinning jobs, right? But you also need to have a place where they have the freedom to come and go and
Right.
can make a decent living, and also, like, John created this place where he hired you and he wanted you to be you. It wasn't like a corporate sort of restaurant gig where you were then forced into some box. He's like, I want an interesting group of people working at my place so people can come in here and feel comfortable and want to chat to my bartenders and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was great, man. And yeah, so I'm massively indebted to him and his family, who ran the place for years and years and years, and places like that. And then other pals of mine had bars like that in New York too, where you could come and go, and it was like a real. You needed something like that to be able to make it through,
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and-
That feels like a crucial part of the puzzle.
Yeah, and like places where people could, where they treat you well too, treat you like family. I mean, like, it's a rarity to find a boss, in that city that treats you really good.
Did it take you a moment to find that?
Oh shit, yeah. I mean, it's a great place. It was a strange restaurant. I almost didn't apply. I saw it on Craigslist, and I walked up and I looked in. I'm like, I'm not fucking working there. And then I walked in and met all my pals, and then I was there for 10 years, man.
Shit.
Yeah, tending bar and coming and going and stuff, and
Love it.
I mean, the thing about that place is like that. About New York in general is, some of the people that I worked with behind the bar were the most talented people I'd ever met in my life. Singers and the rest of it. And so when you go to that city like that, you don't know who you're talking to. Like this person that is making your coffee.
It's interesting.
It has some incredible hidden talent that you don't know about. And so that makes the whole place like sort of shine.
And that's how they bring back the regulars and keep the people and the word flowing.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. It's good.
Robert works there.
Yeah.
That guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's so cool, man.
Do you find that the family camaraderie of like the stage acting community is similar in Toronto or Vancouver as it is in New York, or is there a different vibe?
I mean, I haven't really been a part of those communities,
Okay.
so I can't really speak to it. I mean, I think that like there isn't a lot of theaters in Vancouver. There's some, right? And my aunt actually is a theater actor out there, and I think she has a really strong community sense. And I think that like just the nature of the art form creates community, So I think that where there is something like that, where there are theaters, there will be a community.
So
like
most
that.
likely, okay.
Most likely, I would imagine. Yeah.
I've just never experienced it, so I.
Yeah. I think the thing that's like about like New York is probably similar in other places where people move there specifically for that. You know what I mean? Like you have this talent pool, like LA
like
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
People are coming for this reason from all over the place, so you just have a higher concentration. I think.
Yeah. No, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you taught acting. I just for any actor listening, how do you act?
How?
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach us something.
Like there are people like so happy. People watch TV and they go, "Oh, I could do that."
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't. Because you make it look so easy.
Can I start with something? Can I ask you?
Yeah.
I don't imagine it's kind of similar to what you were saying about how in theater, you got to practice everything with your group, and you leading up to it, you guys are all getting together doing rehearsals.
Yeah.
And in film, you just show up on set and you're like, let's hope to fucking God that the person that's across from me not only is kind and good natured, perhaps outside the scene, but in the scene, you can't just sit at home and practice your lines with your emotion the way it's going to be when you get there. You're going to learn your lines, you're going to memorize it, understand your scene, understand your show. And when you get there, the person opposite you, the actor opposite you or in the scene, is going to feed you emotion that may have caught you off guard. And it plays on how you respond, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine that you're at home practicing the emotion so much as you're.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Am I
don't
on
think so.
something,
Yeah,
kinda?
totally. I mean, it's just like about like, there's a lot of like story structure stuff in there, I suppose, but it all comes down to what you're doing in the scene.
The context of the scene.
Yeah, it all comes down to action, right? Like that's Picasso, right? He says action is everything, and if you look at one of his paintings, there's movement in it always, right? And it's the same for any art, and it's the same for music or any type of storytelling, right? And so action is everything. So what is happening in this scene? What am I doing to propel that? What do I want? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? That sort of shit. And then outside of that, it's just about knowing yourself. And as we were talking about before, knowing the instrument. So in the school that I was working at in New York, the technique is sort of taught through these series of exercises. These that sort of teach you about what you like in the world, which funnily enough, like people don't know, really what means something to them. And then in England, I was working with this guy who they taught this quite complicated system over there that had to do with Carl Jung's sort of theories of subconscious and stuff like that. And they were like, you need to know what makes you tick, your subconscious, so you can switch it out with somebody else's, right? So you're just about knowing yourself, right? And knowing, and then that is how you access these different sort of sensations, emotions, or whatever you want to call it. But then coupling that with action, and that's all Stanislavski is about. You know, there's character work there, you know, knowing the person, but then it's just, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know? Yeah.
Oh, so that ends the show.
Yeah.
Let's act. Let's do some action. Okay. Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I find like, obviously Randy and I sit and pick apart everything that we watch, and, you know, from acting to shot lists and directing and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, man. I feel like you can't totally prepare for a scene until you're in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that I found like about working on films and stuff is like, when you're doing a play in rehearsal, you know, you're working with these people for some weeks, and you guys sort of build the world together, right? And I'm finding now that like when I prepare to do a scene for film, I always show up and something doesn't look like what I think it's gonna look like. You know, the guy's standing there instead of standing over there, and all that shit. So
yeah.
And when I first started, I didn't leave space for that in my preparation. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because like you need to you prepare your ass off, and then you leave a little bit of space so that when you get there on the day, you're open to whatever the fuck it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and what's this other guy gonna do? You know, and
then you feed off all that shit.
Yeah, and then it you know, and I mean, like, I learn all that shit from working with guys like Taylor Handley and Jeremy Renner, you know.
Hell yeah, man.
And I mean, Renner's the king of that shit, man. He's unbelievable, you know.
That's the reason he is where he is.
Yeah, and you can just see him working off of everything around him.
Yeah.
You know, and like for an actor of his stature, you know, you feel so included in his like world and performance and shit, right? You know, and yeah, he's amazing at that. And
He was great to work with in that he was incredibly generous at anything I offered. And I would show him something, maybe twice, and he was on, man.
Yeah.
We did that hockey fight
Yeah.
in the hockey arena.
Yeah.
I think we showed it to him twice.
Yeah.
He participated in one blocking,
Yeah.
then said, let's go at full steam.
Yeah.
The guy's got
Oh.
a memory for fighting by the time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, man.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then we shot it.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. And yeah, so it's just like a masterclass of that sort of shit with him every time, right? And just watching him react off of things and react off of you, you know, and yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
You know, if film and television didn't go the way it has gone, where films are sort of taking a bit of a backseat to some of the television, you know, it takes a real big, epic sort of motion picture to play any sort of role nowadays. And you got a huge movie star like Renner, who's hopped on board a show. I bet I would assume that as you were growing up acting and doing this, you're thinking about big movies. And now are you sort of thinking the show thing? Like,
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. You know,
Does
like
it matter?
I'm happy to be employed. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess.
I mean, you know, but like best case scenario for sure. Like I know I have my ambitions. I know what I want. You know,
For sure.
for sure, and
For sure.
and this like the ambition was always to be you know, to work in this tier. You know, this quality of television. Right?
Really,
here
that is it.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's amazing. And then for films and stuff, you know, there's a whole nother sort of thing there too. But I watch a lot of like I think, and other people would disagree, but I feel like the way that storytelling works with the series and with all these big actors moving to that like 12-hour storytelling frame, it sort of took the middle out of movies, right? So you still have like all these huge superhero films, and you still have independent art house films. But some of the films that were in the middle between those two things,
That's interesting.
they got turned into TV shows.
Yeah.
And actually that's better for those stories because they couldn't, maybe they were not sort of concise enough to hold like a 2-hour time frame, right? You wanted to tell that story over 12, right? Like Mayor of Kingstown might have been a movie at some point, but it's way fucking better as a television show.
Well, you know the
totally.
the movie came out about Queen,
Right.
about Freddie Mercury and Queen and all that.
Yeah.
I have such a problem with that movie.
Okay.
He does. We've discussed it
Yeah,
several times.
But see, it's a Freddie Mercury's life is so massive,
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
Queen then on top of that is just massive.
Yeah.
And you could dive into the lives of the other band members and everything.
Yeah.
And when you got a movie like this, trying to sum up one man's like unreal amount of life.
Yeah.
You know, they whatever. I've said I think all this shit on the podcast before, but that could have been a TV show.
Yeah.
It should have been a TV show.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah, because otherwise you get into generalities, right? And you get into sort of like cliches of famous people like Freddie Mercury, and a lot of those films follow the same like outline, you know.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's like that. Then where's the authenticity in that story? There isn't fucking room for it, you know.
Yeah.
In the same way.
Yeah, they're throwing out all the facts you want to know about Freddie Mercury in
Yeah,
just 5 minutes
and like
here.
what made him different than another rock star, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
Anyway, yeah, TV rules.
No, let's redo it.
Yeah, well, maybe you could now, you know, like now you
I
can
might.
change mediums and do it with something else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what else, man? Let's talk. What
Yeah.
else are we talking about? We got
What do you do with your time between seasons? Like, are you working? Are you doing plays?
I haven't done a play in a while. I would like to. Anybody listen to this podcast, I'm available to do a play. I would love to have another job there. And then, you know, you just audition and shit, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I just did a couple of days on The Good Doctor, you know, out in Vancouver, which was nice.
Sweet.
Got to go and see my family, and they were all lovely and
Sweet.
blah, blah, blah. So I'm just trying to get as much work as I can,
Yeah.
you know?
Just like any other actor, of course.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Everybody wants to work.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of what I'm trying to do is just, you know, and like I'm, you know, fairly new in the business in terms of my resume and film and stuff. So I'm just trying to keep building it and keep it going.
Is Mayor going to come back for a third, do you think?
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I think they're sort of focusing on season 2 at the moment, and
Okay. Yeah.
you know, they let us know that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they let us know, you know.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, it's a real pleasure to be a part of something like that. Like as I was saying, that's like always been the ambition for me, you know. And I think for every actor to work on something that has that sort of level of storytelling in it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And so hopefully, you know, you get to continue
Totally,
with that
dude.
sort of shit, right? But you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm like a journeyman guy, you know, so I just want
Totally.
to keep working, you know, and do as much as I can. And a lot of the actors that I admire sort of carry that way of thinking as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Does doing theater, do you travel? Do you get...
Yeah, man. I did my first play ever in Evansville, Indiana. And, yeah, man. I used to go all over. Like the United States has a great sort of regional theater network, you know, and that's where a lot of young actors and people, you know, do. And people like it used to be that you can make a really good living that way. You know, you go out to the Guthrie or the Goodman and you do a lot of good plays and plays like I've done plays that start out in the regions and then try to make their way into New York. That's sort of the idea, you know. You'll go to some weird playhouse and do something for a couple months and then hopefully bring it to the city and stuff. Yeah, so you travel all over the place. Yeah, I spent the summer in the Berkshires, Florida, fucking Midwest, all that stuff.
Sweet.
You know?
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's good, man. I mean, and
fun.
you sort of you cut your teeth, you know, and I did a lot of really bad plays, you know, and I was terrible in them, you know, and you know, thank Christ, and you know, not so many people saw it, and you just, you know, it's a great place to sharpen your skill set.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, before everybody's seeing you, right before you come to New York and stuff like that.
Yeah, right on. Okay. It's kind of like any comedian or band or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of travel with
doing that
that,
sort of
right?
thing. Yeah.
I talked to some.
They
some
build their audience and
stand-ups
then build their show.
Yeah.
Are you a musician?
No, not at all, man. I mean, I love music and stuff like that. People prefer I don't sing, you know? That's.
Yeah,
I have a
get
buddy
it.
like that. I ask him all the time, what do you hear?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when we were in Russia, we had this really fancy music teacher. She was involved with the Bolshoi opera and all this stuff. And she couldn't figure out for the life of me what I was doing there, you know. She made me get copies from the room and hand out music and shit like that. She was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Where did you find him?"
So no musical theater for you.
No, sir. No. That's all right though. Yeah.
I mean, everyone loves that shit, eh? The musical theater. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And you can make a good living doing that, you know? It's hard to make a really good living as a straight theater actor, you know, just because there's not as many straight plays on Broadway and stuff like that, right? And the regional theater contracts are less than they used to be. So,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
When you think of Broadway, you think of the big musical theaters.
Oh,
the
yeah.
big musical shows.
Yeah.
There's no straight play. Just
There's very few.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
You
There's
know,
a
I
couple
thought about it.
running right now, but they're few and farther between, and you need to have really famous people in them and stuff like that. Whereas in a musical, you don't need that as much. Right? The spectacle and stuff
Right.
takes care of it.
Well, that's true. You always hear about Colin Farrell or whoever it might be doing a play and such, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I know a lady. I go to this coffee shop every morning just around the corner here, and a lady that I met there who produces plays.
Yeah,
And
cool.
I was going, oh wow, geez, what do you produce out of Toronto? What?
Yeah.
She's no, the Galt Little Theater right here.
Oh, cool. Man.
It's like a block away.
Yeah.
Oh, that place still runs?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's looking at me like I'm a complete asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it runs.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
Yeah.
sell? Okay, I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck.
You
I
should go.
have no
Yeah.
idea.
What kind of theater do they do there? You know?
Well, they do. Yeah, I don't know. They do they do.
Didn't even know it
little
was there.
dramas. Yeah, I didn't even know. And it turns out she's doing these things pretty often.
Yeah, she
I
does,
just
yeah.
had no fucking idea. I actually asked her about auditioning for a play,
Oh, okay.
but the commitment
Maybe
really
you could do a
is.
stand-up set there.
I would.
Yeah, the commitment must be crazy.
The commitment was
So,
what's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
you
going to take
commit to-
away work from
If,
me.
Yeah.
if you commit to the prep,
Yeah.
and then whatever run it is it 2 months, 3
Yeah.
months? I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't take a movie job between.
No. That's why, a lot of people don't do it because it does take so much of your time of your life, you know.
Anytime we want work, we plan a vacation,
Oh yeah, exactly.
and then
Yeah.
we get the work, and
Yeah.
then you have to eat your plane
Yeah,
ticket.
yeah. If you want a job, plan a trip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
for him to do a play would.
Yeah, and they're not much money, right? So you're doing a passion project, really.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I would have loved to.
Yeah.
It would have been fun.
Yeah.
I've been missing out on a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
You know?
One day, man. One day we'll get you up there, buddy. Yeah. But it's funny, you know. I mean, like I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and it's like you know, like with smaller theaters like that one, you know, that maybe hire professional people and sometimes, you know, do amateur productions or whatever. I don't know what that theater's like, but if you're into it, you know, if you love the theater, you're gonna do it for the rest of your life. And if you do it professionally, that's one thing. If you strive for that, and if you don't, then you're gonna find yourself in an amateur production of something somewhere along the way. So you just sort of have to decide, like, how often would you like to do it, and to what degree. You know, it's not a question of like, am I gonna be involved in this or not?
You are.
You are.
Yeah.
You are, you know, because you love
Wow.
it, right? And so you just say, okay, do I want to devote myself totally to it, or do I want to do it recreationally, you know? And that's it.
What's the biggest difference that you find between stage acting and film or television?
I think just the size of it, you know, like You might be in a 500 seat house or a 1,000 seat house, and you gotta, they'll mic you up sometimes, but you gotta make sure that this guy back here can hear you and see you and all that stuff, right? So just the technical aspects of it are totally different, and theater's artifice, right? So there's a certain amount of it that is like very showy and very production, right? But also, as an actor, you are the show in a play, right? You carry everything. You time the jokes. You time everything, right? And in film, you are only a piece of the puzzle,
Right.
right? Like, yes, there's lights and all this stuff on a play, but really they're there to see you, and you do the whole thing, and you have to carry it, right? Whereas in a film, they cut it and they take this part and they take that part and then they show them this and they show them that and they put some music on it and they give you a gun and you know what I mean? And so you have to do less. Like it's less like energy output.
Yeah, at some point the editor saves you when you leave a scene. You go, man, that wasn't my best.
Oh,
and then the editor cuts it together, and you go, wow.
Yeah,
thank.
Yeah,
fuck.
and they can like fix your joke, man. They can like time that shit for you.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, like it's crazy, right? Like I was watching a friend's film. They showed me a rough cut, and I'd never seen a rough cut before of something.
Okay.
And I was like, no, this is no, and I didn't know how to fix it. Because I didn't understand the medium on that level, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of stumble throughs in plays, in rehearsals and shoddy rehearsals, and I understand how to fix that. But this, and then he was like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. We'll just move that here, and we'll put it like that, and we'll, put some music over here, and boom, and it was great.
You can change the whole story.
You can change a whole fucking story, man. And I'm talking to filmmaker friends of mine, and they're saying like how important the editor is. It's like there's another. What's super interesting is that there's so many voices like to the story, right? And the editor, you have the director, the actors, everybody doing their thing, the cinematographers and all that stuff, and then you have the editor that comes in. That's another perspective.
Yeah,
almost,
he's
right?
the final rewrite.
Right. Yeah.
Which is funny because when we did Sunday Nights,
Yeah.
our editor did do something that was
Incredible.
completely but it was, remember the very first edit he did was completely different than
totally.
what was written, and then we were like, can you edit it the way it was written?
Yeah.
He
created his own movie.
and to be and that's the American Beauty thing too.
Yeah.
Apparently with the script, it's nothing like the script.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, I think that's a Taylor Sheridan thing that he said was, a script is a blueprint, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And then you go from there. Or it can be like a Terrence Malick movie where like the guy shows up who's supposed to be the lead to the premiere and realizes he's only in 10 fucking minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
That's
Surprise.
Yeah,
That's funny.
exactly right. Yeah.
It's
Crazy
hilarious.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah. It's crazy medium, man. It's cool.
But the theater must be you create a family, eh? It might be
Yeah,
a
you
little,
do.
little
Yeah,
different in a way.
yeah. You get tight. You're up there. The play that I did right before the pandemic was a very difficult play. The subject matter was really hard. It was fantastic. Like,
Can we talk about it at all?
Yeah, it was at this theater called the Irish Repertory Theater in New York City that I've worked at a few times, and they're a really great community there. The director was a woman named Nicola Murphy, who I'm massively indebted to for just allowing me to be part of this project. Written by a woman named Abby Spallin, who's a Northern Irish writer from a place called Newry in Northern Ireland, right on the border. And she'd written this play called Pump Girl, which was like a monologue play with 3 actors, and it was me and Claire O'Malley and Leisha McGee, and we did this thing, and it was a hard play. It had like really difficult themes in it. It was about sort of cultural fallout of the Troubles, and what it's like there, sort of to live after that, after the a lot of the political sort of, I don't know, like there isn't the same political strife that there was, right? There isn't, like, a lot of the people born into it see the violence, but they don't see that, like, like they don't live in a world where there's 80% unemployment in the Catholic community and the same kind of discrimination, right? So there's just violence, you know, in a way, right? And I'm obviously simplifying the shit out of it, but
Yeah, sure.
but that's what this particular play was, one of the major themes in it. And there's a lot of violence and just harshness, but the play was beautiful and really worth it. But when you're in a theater and you got to do that for some people every day, you know, and people get up and walk out when something harsh happens or this or that or whatever, you know, and so you're up there together doing this stuff. You form a really incredible bond with these people, you know, because
How does it feel when someone gets up and walks out?
well, first couple times you're like, fuck, you know, what have I done something wrong? And then you know, you sort of you start to learn how to deal with it, you know.
Crazy.
Like, yeah. And what, you know, it's not because the play, like with other things, you know, you're like, oh, this is hard to do because the play maybe isn't as good. But with something like that, they're walking out because it affected them.
Yeah.
You know, and they weren't able to sort of deal with it or whatever, right? So you know you're sort of doing your job, right?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and you're telling the story with like a degree of truth, but it was a difficult one, man, and you know, it was the kind of play that every night when you're finished doing it, you're better than when you started, you know, and so it was a real one of those things where you're just sharpening the shit out of yourself. But I'm sure it's like that. Like I've heard stories of guys doing stand up that, you know, I'm like, I don't want any part of that. Like that sounds really revealing, you know.
Yeah,
And, you know,
I kind of think that's cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's neat too. I mean, it's so wild that you kind of changing up on stage based on what's going on in the audience. You know, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, and not all plays are like that. That, you know, but you feel like when you're working on something that has a great deal of weight, like that one did, then you know you feel like you're doing something important, you know, like you're telling, because the story that you're telling was true for a lot of people, you know. You're telling somebody's story, right? And in that community there was a lot of people from that part of the world that came to see it. And so that was cool too, you know.
And you must feel like you're sort of a tribute. You're doing a tribute to what's going on.
Yeah, you hope so. You know, you hope that you're like a, you know, you're telling the story properly. That's all you can sort of hope for. You know?
Wow,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I've seen some moments on set where, I mean, I had to do a scene once where I don't rape a girl, but I do harass her pretty good, and she's in her bed and all this stuff, and I do a lot of pretty demonic things. And then, but you know, after the scene was cut, she kept crying. She just kept crying and going, and the director, who was a female as well, would come in and hug her and tell her it's not real and these kinds of things. And I'm going, oh my God, I can't even believe how deep she's gone into this. And at first you kind of go, is she being, like, for someone in my position, I'm wondering why. And then I'm going, wow, it's so real. It's fucking real. And I've witnessed this kind of thing like twice in my life. I can imagine that happens on stage.
Yeah, well, again, it's like, you know, it does a little bit, but you've been working on it for a month, so you've gotten that out of the system.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. The best thing I ever saw was I saw this production of Romeo and Juliet in Russia that they'd been doing for 2 years by the time I saw it. It was fucking unbelievable, man. Just because they were so comfortable in it. I know. Crazy.
Holy
right?
fuck.
Yeah, and they were just so comfortable in it, and they had refined the moments to a place, you know, where the story was so clear that they were trying to tell. It was really, and it was in Russian, and I mean, obviously I know the story, but it was like, it was amazing, man. And the sword fights, holy fucking shit, because they were so in it. They were practiced, like their swords were coming like that on each other, right? You know, and it was just really cool to watch this like super well-oiled piece of art, right? Like it was really cool. And I think that's like you know, obviously in film there's a lot of sensation that picks up on the camera, you know, the emotions you talk about and all this stuff. And with theater, you know, people, you want to feel that sort of stuff in the moment, but there's a way of doing it where it's more important that the audience feels it, right? So you want to leave space for all that, and so in the same way, it's you don't have to do that every time in the theater to get the same response from the audience,
Right.
you know.
Now, it's someone like, if they're doing Romeo and Juliet for 2 years, they must be changing it up or doing something to just stay sane, no?
I don't think so. I mean, like when you're working on a piece like that, you know, that is so deep, right? You just be surprised, like if you keep with it and you keep thinking about everything that's going into your part of the story, you're gonna find new stuff, you know. You can do things for a long time, and as long as you stay diligent about sharpening it, you can keep it fresh for yourself, and without changing it in a massive way, you can deepen the story. And so there's two ways that sort of could have gone. Like, they could have been doing that for 2 years and it could have been totally boring to watch and they're totally
Complacent.
checked out.
Yeah.
But these guys were not. They had been working on this thing, you know. And that's part of that Stanislavski system that we were talking about before. It allows you to keep going and going on something, so you can do it forever.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I want to see the show in its second year.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Like, yeah, and they have a theater system over there that allows for that, and we don't as much.
So if I heard you were going to do a play, and I was like, man, I got to go see my buddy Hamish in a play,
Yeah.
should I not go on the first day? Should I wait until you've built it and sharpened it a little bit?
Good question.
He told me about Stanislavski.
Yeah.
I gotta
Well,
wait.
sometimes I'll go see something right away, and then I'll wait, and I'll see it right before it closes, and I'll see if I can notice any differences.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There must be.
Oh shit, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's usually better, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if it's people that you know, if it's a good theater company, then it's usually better by the time, because they've had time to sit in it and like really work out these moments and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
So what's next right now? What's next after today?
Right now,
Yeah, right after today. What's next?
I'm gonna go to the Marlies game.
Oh, sweet.
I love the Marlies,
The Marlies.
the Toronto Marlies, man,
The hockey.
at the Coca-Cola Center.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah.
We're not hockey fans.
All right,
We're
right
not
on,
hockey
man.
freaks, you know.
No, I mean,
Love
me
sports.
neither. You know, but we live pretty close to it's down at the what is that? The exhibition center there.
Yeah.
Down on whatever. So that's where the Coca-Cola Center is. So
Sweet.
sometimes we go down there, man. It's great hockey.
When somebody tells me they're
Sweet.
going to Marley's, I'm thinking, that girl from high school?
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
bar called Marlies. Yeah.
So that's where I'm going now.
Right on.
But yeah, man. But yeah, I'm just sort of like auditioning. Got a few irons in the fire. Things that might be coming up, and we'll just keep plugging away.
Right on.
You know, as best we can, right?
Good for you, man.
Yeah, man, and just keep it going if
So
we
you're
can.
going to be in Toronto for a while?
I'm going back to New York on Monday for a few things, and then I'll sort of be back and forth.
Right on.
Yeah, it's been really nice, man. I love Toronto.
Yeah,
it's a
Is your
great
gal
city.
living here still, sort of, or is she with you now? since
Yeah,
you
we're
guys
sort
are
of
married?
still going through green card shit. and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So she's a bit back and forth, but but soon it'll be that'll all be behind us and it'll be easier. But we'll keep the place in Toronto forever. I think, you know, if we
Cool.
can. I love it. I love it, man. It's a great city.
Yeah, because seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Mayor of
7, 8, 9,
Kingstown.
and 10.
Yeah.
Gonna shoot in Toronto.
And all the offshoots that are gonna come off of it.
Yeah.
All the spin-offs.
Yeah,
right,
the
of
spin-offs.
course. Yeah.
Roberts should have his own show.
Right on.
Yeah,
man,
with
and
his
the origin
classic
story of all. That's
SWAT team.
that's what Adam was talking
Yeah,
about forever. Right? Yeah, like have the old
would be sweet.
the origin story of how it all like comes together, like an A-team sort of shit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the 70s shows.
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah, man.
That's wicked.
Yeah. Good.
Hamish, we have a friend who's a massive fan, and she's a SWAT cop at a local prison here in the area.
Wow.
And she's asked if he might sign a photograph. Well, actually, I don't know if she asked so much as my other buddy did.
Yeah,
Her
that's
name
true.
is Jenny.
Oh man, that's.
do you mind?
I'm just very.
And
like,
do you mind? Can I show the picture?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
This
Look
is
at all that gear, man.
Yo, dude, I have been whacking it to this fucking photo for.
I wonder, is there foam in there or is that plates?
Yeah. It's plates, Adam. I promise, man. It's plates.
She affectionately refers to you as SWAT Bob.
SWAT Bob. All right. That's amazing, man. Jesus. That's
Nobody
funny.
has signed their photograph on this yet.
Oh
Yeah,
well, this
yeah,
is my
podcast.
first. This is the first photograph I've ever signed like this.
Seriously?
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me for a picture before. So.
Well, it's because people don't think that this exists anymore.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I guess so. Right.
So her name's Jenny. Jenny.
All right.
And I believe it's spelt with 3 or 4 N's. What
3
is
or
it?
4 ends.
I would guess that too.
Don't do it. Yeah, do you even have a hard copy of a headshot anymore?
Somewhere, man, in my mom's basement or something.
Yeah.
SWAT Bob.
I hope she likes
That's
it.
awesome, man. There you go, Jenny.
Hey, so now
Yeah.
while Hamish has the Sharpie,
Yeah.
Hamish,
Yeah.
would you do us the honor
Yeah.
of signing our table?
Oh, of course I would, man.
Pick a spot that's clean.
Okay.
Yeah, look at all these
Yeah,
beautiful.
and you can move the mic and reach forward or go.
Yeah, you can go over there. Of course, Sean wanted the middle, so he went here and then spelled
Right.
some things wrong and wrote like a kindergarten. But
And wrote on the other piece of wood.
Yeah.
well, that's okay.
I gotta hang them
You know.
together now.
Yeah, that's all right. That'll be
All right.
cool.
Oh, this is right over here.
It's a nice. That's a very beautiful spot.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know.
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and you can draw a picture too.
You feel very on the spot.
Action.
Okay. All right.
Take your time. Some guys actually did say, "Do we have to do it now?" I don't even know what I want to.
I know.
Yeah.
This is where the improv skills come in.
Yeah.
Just make something up on the spot.
Oh, he's killing it. He's killing it.
I'm writing it so nobody can read what I said.
Oh, good.
Is it in cursive?
Well, he kind of writes like Sean. That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks,
man.
Hamish.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, buddy. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man, it was really nice to be here, fellas. You know, like it took us a couple cracks, and I'm glad that we stuck it with it. And
Yeah,
we
man.
were able to be here. Thanks for having me on. Yeah,
Thank you so
real honor.
much, man.
Yeah.
And I hope that you get to come back.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Have me back again sometime.
Yeah, I would love that.
bumming
That'd be
around and
awesome.
I don't
Well,
know.
what we've thrown it around of having the entire SWAT team come around the table.
Oh, yeah. Keep me posted for that for
Yeah.
sure. I'd love that. Yeah.
Well, we
yeah.
wouldn't do it without you, so
Yeah.
We just need more mics and cameras.
we could
on
do
a
it
bigger
somewhere else.
table.
Just find a bar somewhere and just
Yeah, we
set
could
up
do
the
it somewhere
cameras.
else.
That'd be
That's a good
sick.
idea.
Yeah,
we
that
could
would
do it in a
actually be
bar
really sick,
somewhere. You
man.
know, like rent. You know, get a space in the day or something. Like go into a bar in the day and
100%.
mic everybody up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
sick.
Let's
Yeah.
do it up.
Good
Totally.
idea, man.
Great ideas. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Oh,
Thanks for
buddy.
Yeah, it
coming,
was great
Hamish.
talking to you.
Hamish, it was a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on.
Alrighty.
Cheers.
All right.
Cut it, D.
Right on, fellas.
Oh,
Hamish, that was